We were at an otolaryngology conference once. We had some great things that we were going to give away. We literally got up on the chair and made a big event at our spot, and people start gathering. They want to know what's going on. I mean, the fact is, we are sitting here right now. There's a breakout that's happening in the room we're in, and everybody's walking by our booth to watch what we're doing right now because we're doing something different and unique at the conference.
Did you plan that? Did you know this?
No, I did not know, but this is great.
Even better.
Hey there, welcome to the Dr. Marketing Tips Show. I am Jennifer.
And I'm Corey.
And today we are joining you from the Florida MGMA conference where Corey's actually going to be a speaker.
Yeah, in just a couple hours. And we thought as we were kind of sitting here and prepping for the talk that it makes sense maybe to share a little bit about if you're going to go to a conference, what are some things to know before you go? You know, it's probably been a little bit since COVID and everything that sort of happened, but we're starting to see attendance kind of pick up. So wanted to kind of do a little conference attending 101 and then also some conference exhibiting 101.
Yeah, so if you're like me and you're a business owner and you're footing the bill when you're sending people to conferences, you certainly don't want to send a couple of folks and have them just sit on the sideline, kind of pay attention, maybe go to the bar on your expense account and really go with a friend and then kind of hang out the whole time. So you want to have some strategies when it comes to engaging at a conference, really getting the most out of it, things of that nature.
Yeah, it really, you want to have a little bit of a plan. When I was a kid, I used to watch the G.I. Joe cartoon all the time.
Yes.
And they used to always say that knowing is half the battle. And I think it applies to conferences where going is half the battle. So just showing up, I think, is part of it for sure. But then you also want to have an idea of what's going to happen. So like you were just saying, if you're going to go, typically you don't go alone. You go with someone from the office. And you know, a lot of people when they go, they're a little bit nervous. They don't know everybody, so they kind of huddle together. So one thing that we always do when we go to conferences is we like to attend the sessions, but never together. So we'll go to completely different talks, different tracks, so we're actually maximizing that learning time.
Yeah, we actually sent about 6 people to a conference one year, and there were some younger folks, and they were very unhappy that I said, you cannot attend the same sessions. So really part of, when we get to a conference, we get the conference book, we open it up, we strategize about where we're all going to make sure that we get as much learning as possible, and then we take great notes, and then at the end of the day, we kind of debrief with one another about what we learned and what the other person kind of took from their session so that we can get the most big bang for our buck.
Yeah, and then not only should you not go to the same session, but if you're actually going to be in a session, then be present, be in the session. Don't have your computer open, because once you do that, you get that Slack message or you see that email come in or whatever the case may be, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're just doing work, but you're sitting in a different place.
Yeah,
that's not the point.
That's exactly the case. Or you bring out your phone and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got to scroll to my phone, what's on Instagram or what's on TikTok today. That's not why we're paying you to go to a conference.
Yeah, and then also, you know, if you're going to a conference, especially if it's out of state or it's, you know, somewhere where you're not familiar with and you don't know people there, one thing that I've always found to be a great way to meet new people
Other than cocktails?
Well, yes, of course, yeah, we want to partake in that, obviously. But also, like, go to the events that they set up, you know, so if they have, like, a casino night, for example, you know, make yourself available and go to that. Yeah, it can be a little awkward sometimes and a little uncomfortable, but you know, you can really meet a lot of people when you're outside of your comfort zone there.
It's always easier to do something that's uncomfortable when you have a buddy. One thing that I do, because I can't remember anybody's name, never could, I bring someone along like Corey and I'll say, oh, have you met Corey? And then Corey knows to put his hand out and to have the handshake. And when you do the handshake, that's your cue to say, oh, you know what? Oh, I'm Jan. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to introduce you to Jan. Jan, it's Corey. We've been working together for years, blah, blah, blah. It's a great way to get an icebreaker. And I know, Corey, you have some other, tips for breaking the ice too, don't you? You're a great conversationalist.
Well, I think anytime you can tell a bad joke, that's a win, or a dad joke.
Well, now that you're a dad, you've got some great dad jokes.
Yeah, so they fit right in. And then I think too, like I said, if you go to the events, definitely do that. When you're in line, so if you're, a lot of conferences, they have like buffets or whatever, make small talk. Talk about food. Everybody likes to talk about food. That's an easy way to drum up some conversation and meet a couple of people.
Don't be weird about it, but don't be weird, but you can compliment people. I love your shoes. That's a great dress. Your hair looks fabulous. blah, blah, blah. When you get people talking about themselves, they feel good about themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. And then the conversation just sort of it flows from there.
Absolutely. And don't, you're not there selling something. You're there really to learn. So take advantage of learning and, feel free to talk to people that are next to you. So let's reverse it now. We're here at the Florida MGMA and we have a booth set up. We often will do a booth if we're speakers. And there's some tricks and trades to getting people attracted to your booth and talking to you as well.
Yeah, so everybody has giveaways, right? So when you go to the exhibitor area, they're going to have their pens and their tchotchkes and their giveaways. So how can you sort of stand apart? And then, so one thing that we found successful is either having a giveaway that's different from everybody else that we can do the giveaway at the booth. So that's something typically you have to ask for if you are exhibiting, because oftentimes in the exhibitor space, you can donate something and then the conference will give it away. But the trick is to have people come to your booth to collect it.
Absolutely. I find a couple of things that we do. One is you're at a booth, if you can kind of see our setup, we have a backdrop, and over here to the side there's a table. We always take the table and put it at an angle. And if I'm here especially, we don't let our people sit down. We don't mean they can't sit down at all, but we don't set up a table and then chairs behind because we want our environment to be welcoming. We're also by nature a very welcoming group. So we're always finding a reason to get people to come into our area. For us, it's a lot about personality, but we have games. We have things that we're giving away. We have great people that have worked in the booth that will bring you in. So I think it's really important to create an environment in your 10 by 10 space that is not going to be you cutting off the people that you're trying to work with.
Right, and again, do something that's unique. I was talking to an ortho practice the other day, and we're getting ready to go to a work comp conference. And so one idea that we have is we're actually going to get a little stand-up Pac-Man machine.
I think that's a great idea.
And then people are going to obviously want to come up and play, and while they're playing, they're going to do an ergonomic assessment on the way that they're standing. And so that checks a lot of the boxes for what we're trying to do at this conference. We're talking to the right people. It's engaging, it's easy, and it's fun, and it's memorable. So I mean, it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of to your point where you have the giveaways at your booth. I mean, we were at an otolaryngology conference once. We had some great things that we were going to give away. We literally got up on the chair and made a big event at our spot, and people start gathering. They want to know what's going on. I mean, the fact is, we are sitting here right now. There's a breakout that's happening in the room we're in, and everybody's walking by our booth to watch what we're doing right now because we're doing something different and unique at the conference.
Did you plan that? Did you know this?
No, I did not know, but this is great.
Even better.
So then our final kind of tip, the one that we keep in our back pocket, we don't want everyone doing it. We will often, sometimes, secretly, there's a case of wine behind us. And what we will do is open up a couple bottles of wine, get people in, start building a relationship and say, hey, can I get you a glass of wine? Bring out, give them a glass of wine, and then all of a sudden more people start coming. Whenever we do a talk, we will go to the talk. If it's in the afternoon, we're usually the last session. At Corey's talk in about an hour, we're going to have wine that we're going to give out to the people walking in. We've been telling people this for days, so we have a good attendance at our talk. We even got in trouble one time at a conference at a 7:30 a.m. session because we served Bloody Marys.
It's mimosas, yeah.
But we had a standing room only crowd for our talk. We built great relationships with all the practice managers. Win, win, win.
Yeah, ask forgiveness, not permission.
That's right. All right, so it's a good time. We got to get ready for the talk, and we need to have a glass of wine.
Amen.
All right, with that, I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Corey.
We'll see you next time on the Dr. Marketing Tips Show. Thanks a bunch.
Bye, guys.
If you want more like this, hit like and subscribe so you'll always be alerted to new episodes when they come out. And if you want information about us, visit us over at insightmg.com. That's insightmg.com. We'll see you on the next episode.